Your vote will decide our destiny. Your vote will decide what you want to be. Your vote can foretell our country's fate. Move and use it well before it's too late. If it is that who you're voting, will be on a doubt. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is they prove it to be only full amount. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the time is now that change should come about. Just as how you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. If they don't see, vote them out. State your finger and vote them out. Show them no mercy, vote them out. Vote them out with total scorn and utter disdain. Let's put our country together again. Put them out of power to be deterrent. Let's put our country together again. If for 30 years you voting them in, and there's only tears as soon as they win, they give you big words and enslave your souls, promising you roads and giving potholes. If they are the reason why the economy goes sprout, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the passing laws that them alone can flout, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the building eyesores, east, west, north and south, the same way you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. Totally, vote them out. State your finger and vote them out. Rescue the country, vote them out. Vote them out with tempo, they have we in vain. Let's put our country together again. Put them out with calypso and joyous refrain. Let's put our country together again. If their policy is a fallacy, their bureaucracy a catastrophe, if they cannot cope and you see him so, then your only hope is for them to go. If it is fabrication, these statements that they spout, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is that frustration does make you want to shout, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. Before they misuse out, deep out, sell out and digs out. If it you who vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. Injustice is what they always show. When you're voting, vote them out, vote them out. If it is that avarice is all they seem to know. When you're voting, vote them out, vote them out. If it is their politics, it's just a puppy show. When elections day come, all bandits must go. Register and vote them out. If they don't see, vote them out. Stain your finger and vote them out. Show them no mercy. Vote them out. Vote them out with total scorn and utter disdain. Let's put our country together again. Put them out of power, dominate their reign. Let's put our country together again.
I just feel like people not understand me. I don't want to even give me a chance. Go to school, I'm a hard skill. I'm a hard worker, but there's just not enough jobs out there. The economy is so bad that I'm ashamed to say that we're in the year 2022 and water hardly one near the pipe. Now them can't tell how we, in order to get a job, I must take the job. I understand the vaccine is a good thing and all that, but I just hate the fact that it's mandated. It's my body, it's my choice. I shouldn't be denied a job, education or benefits because the choices I make for my body. For me, this time, personally, the UPP is the right choice because they are the party of choice.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Beautiful people, are you ready to get off your feet and release that blue energy? We'll move to the front of the class and throw your hands up in the air for The Right Rhythm. The Right Rhythm, a weekly musical experience featuring Antigua and Barbuda's top DJs. 2 hours of musical entertainment every Friday night from 8 p.m. on UPP, YouTube TV, and streamed live on all media platforms, as well as Progressive 107.3 FM. It's The Right Rhythm, brought to you by the United Progressive Party. The right choice.
Join us for the next episode of The Right Choice, Wednesday at 8 p.m. on UPP YouTube TV with our guests, Sister Pearl Quinn Williams, the candidate for St. John's Rural North, and Sister Cleon Athel, the candidate for St. Paul. The Right Choice, Wednesday at 8 p.m. on UPP YouTube TV.
First, he gassed us. Then, he lied to us.
We have made it abundantly clear that no one, absolutely no one in our country will be vaccinated if they do not wish to be. We uphold that right and respect it.
Can we really trust him not to implement mandates for children aged 5 to 11? Vote them out!
UPP. More schools for education. UPP. Agricultural expansion. UPP. That's the UPP intention. Yeah, vote for UPP and make the right choice. Vote for UPP, showing stability. Vote for UPP if you love your country. Vote. This is the urgency of now. The United Progressive Party. Time for out the fire, the LP. How we uplift the youth them and create more jobs in the country. Yeah. The right team, the right mindset, and character to get the job done. Yeah. Senior citizens, don't worry, no fret. Brighter days are gonna come your way, don't forget. United all my people, we gon' stand up. Progressive thinking people, time to move up. For integrity, accountability, transparency. Vote for the right choice. Raise your finger for the right choice. Let me vote. Raise your finger for the right choice. Vote, let me vote. Raise your finger, make the right choice. Right choice. UPP are the right choice for you and me. Hey, if you love Antigua, if you love Barbuda, UPP are the right choice for we. To fix the economy, more stability. UPP are the right choice for we. Social development, youth empowerment. UPP are the right choice for we. So who you gonna vote for then? So who you gonna vote for? UPP are the right choice for we. The United Progressive Party. Them are the one, them are the right choice for economic recovery and stability. Them know how to run the country. Too long now people can't see no upliftment. A time blue team run parliament for social enhancement and development. More infrastructure for technology. Blue team, UPP are the right choice for we. Aye. We have a leader with a Black Panther, a dynamic team with a fresh agenda. No more dictatorship, just good leadership. We lead the country in pretty and bring development to every community. Blue team, you know them are the right choice for with them build a new airport and hospital for with free me for the students of the country. Let we vote, UPP are the right choice for we. Let we vote, UPP are the right choice for we. Let we vote, vote, let we vote now. For UPP, vote the right choice. Vote for honesty, vote the right choice. Vote integrity, vote the right choice. Vote the right choice.
Time to join the family at the People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. We offer savings accounts, deposits, fixed deposits, loans, among other related services. You can even become a shareholder by purchasing a minimum of 50 shares at $5 per share. Membership is super easy and convenient. Just visit our newly opened credit union building on Upper Newgate Street, Monday to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. with proof of ID and address, along with $15 to cover registration and passbook. And you'll be set and on your way. For further information, call 462-8888 or 727-2285. People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Today, tomorrow, together.
My father died when I was just 5 years old. My mother came from Willikies Village. She had 5 young mouths to feed, and she toiled on her sewing machine to make ends meet. She was a strong woman who taught us right from wrong. And even though she struggled, the choices she made put us on the right path. I made the choice to work hard, play by the rules, and get an education. I had a number of opportunities, but I chose to return to Antigua and inspire the next generation. I taught at the Antigua Grammar School, and it's here that I saw firsthand how education transforms lives. I made the choice to get into politics because of the lack of resources that I saw in our schools. I saw how our teachers and families struggled, whilst an elite few got ahead. When the people granted us the opportunity to serve in government, we had a lot of work to do. As Minister of Finance, I helped to clean up the rot of 30 years of one-party rule. We saw our country through the global financial crisis and the Stanford collapse. Through all of that, we introduced the school meals program, the school uniform program, and laptops for children. While we were not perfect, no one is perfect but Almighty God. We work day in and day out to defend the nation and put people first. Today I see too many families struggling for a lack of jobs and the mental stress that comes with it. The cost of living is out of control. And for too many of us, water is still not readily available. And our needed pension checks are not coming on time. While the elite few did well, the ABLP denied you the right to choose what you put in your body. Whilst we believe in vaccines, we don't believe it's the responsibility of government to control your bodies. We will bring an end to all the mandates. This election is about choice, and we believe that we are the right choice because we give you the choice.
First, he gassed us. Then, he lied to us.
We have made it abundantly clear that no one, absolutely no one in our country will be vaccinated if they do not wish to be. We uphold that right and respect it.
Can we really trust him not to implement mandates for children aged 5 to 11? Vote them out!
UPP TV presents The Right Choice, a show created to highlight the candidates of the United Progressive Party and their ideas and plans for the future. Here's your host for The Right Choice, Dr. Jackie Quinn.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to The Right Choice. Tonight is going to be a special night. Tonight is going to be an awesome night. Tonight, we are featuring the finest of the UPP. We are featuring two of the brilliant, powerful, brave women of the United Progressive Party in this series that is designed to bring you up close and personal with the candidates of the United Progressive Party. Our guests tonight are Dr. Cleon Athil, the standard bearer for St. Paul's, and my dearest sister, Pearl Quinn Williams, the standard bearer for St. John's Rural North. Now, we're going to be talking tonight about their lives, their experiences, their vision, and of course, all of their plans for these constituencies across Antigua and Barbuda. But first of all, remember, you can join us on any of our media platforms here on UPP TV, on Progressive 107.3 FM, on my UPP Facebook page, and of course on YouTube. Let's start with their very impressive bios. These, of course, are two very accomplished ladies. Affectionately known as Pauline, as she grew up in Liberta, Dr. Cleon Athil first attended the Liberta Primary School and then the All Saints Secondary School. As a child and young adult, she was active in the St. Paul's community under the aegis of the Anglican Young People's Association. Apart from a brief stint as a travel agent while studying at the Howard University in Washington, D.C., Dr. Athil has been a public servant all of her working life. She began her career as a teacher at the All Saints Secondary School, and then she transferred to the Princess Margaret School, where she distinguished herself and earned lifelong admirers. At PMS, Miss Athil, as she was then known, was able to impact the lives of both students and parents through the school guidance counseling program. From there, she took on the challenge of heading the country's youth development program as the Director of Youth Affairs. Dr. Athil is an ardent youth advocate, a proponent of public sector reform, and a lecturer at the University of the West Indies undergraduate program. Athil earned a PhD in social psychology from Walden University in 2019, building on her Master of Arts in Counseling Psychology from Vermont College and a BSc in General Psychology from Howard University. Please welcome Dr. Cleon Appiah.
Thank you.
Welcome to The Right Choice.
Thank you. The right choice, indeed.
Yes. And we now move on to my dearest sister. What should I say about this young lady? My sister, Pearl Quinn Williams. She rose to national and regional prominence when she championed the cause to retain the Privy Council as this country's final court of appeal in the lead up to the 2018 referendum. Her slogan, "Trust is a must," became a rallying cry for the reform and overhaul of the justice system before any consideration of transitioning to the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ. Quinn Williams is a retired professional with 28 years of experience, training, and certification in the full spectrum of personal and business banking. As one of the top personal banking loan officers in the region, Quinn Williams was selected for a one-year assignment in Antigua, where she reintroduced personal lending to that market. She also trained new staff in personal and business lending products and services, acquiring a number of awards over her career. Prior to that, she spent 7 years at the historic Half Moon Bay Hotel, earning high accolades for customer service excellence, diplomacy, and leadership acumen. A graduate of the Antigua Girls High School and the Antigua State College A-level department, Quinn Williams is known for her integrity, analysis, strategic thinking, and organizational and problem-solving skills. A public speaking trainer, she was a founding executive member of the Antigua Toastmasters Club, and she is an accomplished motivational speaker. She has won the club's international speech contest for the Caribbean District and represented the region in Malaysia as a semi-finalist in the International Public Speaking Contest. Welcome, sis.
Welcome
to The Right Choice.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. And with those impressive bios, ladies and gentlemen, please remember to send us your comments, any questions at all that you may have for these two candidates, St. Paul's and St. John's Rural North. All of you from those get your type in right now. Give us your comments, of course, and we will be sure to share some of your comments and questions at the end of the program. We're going to take a short commercial break and we'll be right back with The Right Choice.
With the right choice, with the right choice, we go. If you love Antigua, if you love Barbuda, UPP is the right choice. Vote for integrity, accountability, transparency. We are the right choice.
Ready? Are you ready? Beautiful people, are you ready to get off your feet and release that blue energy? We'll move to the front of the class and throw your hands up in the air for The Right Rhythm. The Right Rhythm, a weekly musical experience featuring Antigua and Barbuda's top DJs. 2 hours of musical entertainment every Friday night from 8 p.m. on UPP, YouTube TV, and streamed live on all media platforms, as well as Progressive 107.3 FM. It's The Right Rhythm, brought to you by the United Progressive Party. The Right Choice.
It's time to join the family at the People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. We offer savings accounts, deposits, fixed deposits, loans, among other related services. You can even become a shareholder by purchasing a minimum of 50 shares at $5 per share. Membership is super easy and convenient. Just visit our newly opened credit union building on Upper Newgate Street, Monday to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. with proof of ID and address, along with $15 to cover registration and passbook. And you'll be set and on your way. For further information, call 462-8888 or 727-2285. People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Today, tomorrow, together.
Welcome back to The Right Choice. Our guests this evening are two special ladies. Dr. Cleon Athel is the standard bearer for the St. Paul's constituency. And my dear sister Pearl Quinn Williams is the standard bearer for the St. John's Rural North constituency. Just a gentle reminder, audience, that you can join us on any of the media platforms: Progressive 107.3 FM, UPP TV on YouTube, Facebook, and some of you may be joining us on the Zoom platform. Send your comments, send your questions, big up your candidates, big up your representative. You may just be fortunate to hear us reading some of those comments and questions in the final segment of the program. Now, ladies, we have just celebrated International Women's Day on March 8th under the theme, Break the Bias. I want to just canvass your thoughts on this year's theme as it relates to women in elective politics. And why do you think more women are not putting themselves forward for elective politics as the two of you have? And of course, Sister Gladys Potter. Dr. Athel, you want to start us off?
Most certainly, most certainly. This year's theme is very apt. You know, I've been involved in this fight for a very, very long time. And I think that breaking the barrier, breaking the bias is key. Because as women, we face numerous biases. In fact, as people generally. But we see biases all over. Take, for example, I remember one day I was actually in my constituency, doing my walking to canvassing, and a gentleman said to me, why do you think you should be involved in politics? Your woman is supposed to stay home. And besides it, you have on a pant. You're not supposed to have on a pant, and you're supposed to be home.
Really?
Yes.
In this day and age?
This day and age.
Ooh.
So we do have serious biases, serious stereotypes that are still like nooses around the necks of women and prevent us from advancing the way we ought to. Particularly with respect to electoral politics. Many persons would have said that politics is a dirty game. We hear that all the time, that politics is dirty. And perhaps women, because we have been trained to think that we are supposed to be meek and mild, that a lot of women dare not go into. Because women tend to be, Women tend to attract that kind of attention. People tend to look at women and keep us in the narrow confines of stereotypic behavior. So we're supposed to be, supportive. That's right. We're supposed to be the cheerleaders. We're supposed to stand behind. We're supposed to stand behind. We're supposed to be pretty. And so electoral politics dictates or demands that you step out. You are a leader, you are a trendsetter. And these are kind of antithetical to what we have been raised to believe that women are supposed to be. So women have a lot of grounds to cover, but I must say too, that women dare not do this alone. Women cannot do this alone.
No.
We need men and women together, understanding how biases affect both men and women, and that we are partners in this game or this journey called life, and that when we hold up one, we hold up all. So we do need to have men coming on board to break the bias and support women in all endeavors.
Because gender equity is gender equity. Men and women.
Certainly.
There must be a level playing field for both men and women.
Certainly.
What about you, Sister Pearl?
The reality is, Jackie,
it's a man's world still. And we can't get away from that. And what I've found is that the standards for men seem to be lower. The expectations of men seem to be lower than that of women. We still have to work twice as hard. We still have to bring much more to the table. We still have to, we get more vile attacks on our character than our male counterparts. So all across the board, it's a tougher game for the woman. And so what has happened is that women tend to shy away from electoral politics because of that. And they're apprehensive about putting themselves up. And to me, the country loses out as a result, because there are a lot of good qualified women out there who would want to enter the world of electoral politics, but do not do so because of what they perceive to be, as my sister would have said, a dirty game. And it's only dirty because of of the biases. I think, though, I'm seeing some baby steps to us moving, changing attitudes towards women in electoral politics. And it's borne out by the fact that you were the first female parliamentary representative. And we have had 3 since then. And we also have, I think, on all the political party slates, there are at least 3 women. Yes. So women are moving forward, they're coming out more, they're getting bolder. I think, however, to break the bias, it cannot be just tokenism or affirmative action only. We have to change mindsets. And changing mindsets means that we have to start to teach the youths, encourage them that, look, there is no gender-specific role. You encourage them to judge people based on their ability and the content of their character rather than their gender. And we have to continue to encourage them to, if that is what you want to do, step out and do it. Don't feel that you cannot do a role. Don't limit yourself to any role because you are female. And because if the mindsets don't change, even though we would have stepped into the political arena, you're going to still have the discrimination, you're going to still have the condescension, you're going to still have the patronization and the denigration. And we would not have progressed in moving the needle forward as it relates to breaking the bias. So those are my thoughts on that.
Wonderful, wonderful. You know, when I ran for elective politics, one of the things that across the region, the cry was, a woman's place is in the House.
That's the House of Parliament.
Not in the home anymore.
The House.
The woman's place is in the House of Parliament.
Yes.
Now, ladies, what would have inspired you, knowing there's this stigma to politics, people talk about it being a nasty game, it's a dirty game. What would have inspired you or shaped your political beginnings? Why did you decide to step up to the plate and get involved in elective politics?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. It's an interesting question because I'm sitting here, but you know, this politics thing, yes. I'm kind of easing into it, yes. Because I more think of myself as an activist.
An activist.
I'm an activist. I've always been an activist.
And a community leader.
Yes, well, yeah, an activist. I remember from as early, and I'm saying this on camera for the first time, the public, so I hope they know, you know, no. I remember at the age of 13 years old, being a part of the AYPA. The church had taken a particular position with respect to the young people doing a project, you know? And at 13 years old, I felt, no, young people need to show our stuff. We can do it. And the church made a strong policy that, you know, this project is too big for the young people. And I wrote a letter to the bishop.
What? At 13? Whoa, that's
and it's the first time I'm saying that in public like this. So, and it was anonymous. So now everybody knows who wrote that letter. But the point I'm making, though, is that I think from a very early age, I understood that through my own agency, my voice, my writing, my feet and hands, that I can make a difference. And so that's what I've been doing all of my life. I've been at the forefront of numerous endeavors to change, domestic violence, corporal punishment, LGBT issues, the works, right? And but particularly for this, I remember when the call came, well, I have been wooed over time, and I just decided no, because I'm a member of the movement. And I always felt that activism outside of a partisan framework was, to me, have a better reach, right? But then it dawned on me when I asked my son, what do you think Mommy should do? You think I should run? And he said, Mommy, cold like that, Mommy, be the change you wish to see. And I thought, Lord of mercy, God will make a give me this picnic.
How old was his son?
He's adult. He's an adult. He was 28 at the time, 29 at the time. And he said, Mommy, be the change. And I thought that, yes, that is a call. I need to go into this thing. And if I've been advocating all of these years for the kind of changes in governance, for the kind of changes in community, for the kind of changes in Antigua and Barbuda and even the world, then I need to take a step forward and make those changes happen. So I have come into this political space here understanding that through my agency, that I can make change happen. So which is why I'm here. I'm here because I know that change can happen, and I know that today that I have made the right choice.
And you will make the change happen.
Yes, and we will make the change happen.
Yes, St. Paul. What about you, sis? What would have shaped you into running for political office?
Simply put, my desire to see good governance, a higher standard of governance in the country. That's simply put, because I don't think anybody will challenge me that we are seeing an appallingly low level of governance right now. And it's in all aspects, and I say this without compunction. And so I believe that as a good citizen, I have a responsibility to raise the standard of governance as you do to play my part. And I believe that I can play my part at the parliamentary level, where I can add value, where the laws are made, and laws are made in the interests of the people. I must say also the public had a part to play in helping me to make my decision, because I remember after the CCJ debate, a lot of people used to tell me, Pearl, with people like you we need in Parliament. And at the time, it was the furthest thing from my mind. And I began to say to myself, wow, okay. And I felt really humbled that people think that I have what it takes to serve at that level. And so I gave it serious thought, and I spoke with my family. And your encouragement and support as well was a deciding factor in making me make that decision to step into the political arena. And so I'm here offering myself as a servant of the people.
And you are the right choice.
And I am the right choice for rural North.
Now, ladies, tell us, what are some of the main qualities you would say of a good community leader, a good political leader? You have a great background in public service, in activism, in youth leadership. Tell us what you think are the main qualities of a good community leader and political leader.
Passion for what you do.
Yes.
A belief in people's ability to change. A belief in people's sense of agency. The fact that people can do for themselves what they want to do, right? And I believe that. So vision, listening. You have to listen to the community. You have to pull them into the vision. You have to also be able to mobilize divergent views and divergent energies, because in communities you have diverse interests, you have diverse resources, and so a good community leader is able to mobilize all of that and direct them towards something that is common. So for community, I think as a community leader, the whole notion of helping the community to begin to gel as a collective is important. And I think as we go along, I will begin to maybe flesh that out some more, Jackie, because I think that this is something in St. Paul's that we're actually working on. How do we get our community to gel and gel around common interests, common goal? How do we do that?
Yes. What about you, Sister Pearl, the main qualities?
I would say that they need to love people and country. You need to love people and country. You need to see value in every person, because there is value, even the dull and unintelligent, they too have a story. They have something that they can offer. You need, that person needs to be able to motivate persons to bring their better selves forward and be their better selves. Because if they're not able to do that, then you won't have a successful party or outcome at the end of the day. I believe that that person should be respectful of all persons, of all persons. And so these are some of the qualities that I think that a good political leader should have.
Okay. Now, you are both very accomplished ladies, lots of experience under your belt with banking, business, public service, youth, you know. What would you single out if you were to reflect on your careers, your very accomplished careers? What would you single out as your proudest achievement? I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I'm thinking. I'm trying to think of one, but there are so many actually. But I want to talk about how we formulated a national youth policy.
Yes.
And I'm saying that because I think it is a process that we used, and I think too that it's something that we can emulate as we go forward as a process. Okay? Now I remember, in the youth space as a young woman, as a youth, that Antigua and Barbuda had spent so much resources bringing in consultants after consultants to do a youth policy. And consultant after consultant would have left Antigua and Barbuda money in pocket and no youth policy. And it bothered me. It bothered me that a people and all resources would have been poured into a process time after time and then nothing for it. It's like throwing money down the tube. And so when I became the youth director, I made a commitment to the young people of Antigua and Barbuda that there's going to be youth policy. And I made another commitment that not one red cent going to spend on a policy. And that's what we did. And so what we did, we mobilized youth across Antigua and Barbuda, going from community to community, consulting, having the ideas. And over the time, the policy was an organic living thing, that you had people adding to the discussion, and every time we wrote, so as we had a consultation, the policy was being developed and written. So at the end of the process, we had something that is a document. And the interesting thing about the youth policy is that no one person can claim the document. So you wouldn't find on the youth policy written by, because it was a collective community effort where persons, and another important thing about the policy is that as we were building out the policy, we actually developed skills as well. So that you had people, whole organizations coming into their own as a result of being involved in the youth policy process. I'm thinking specifically of the Association for Disabilities. That is where they got their voice from, because they came to every single consultation. And out of that process came a very vibrant and fierce advocate in the person of Bernard Warner. So he will credit the youth policy process with his activism. And so that is a living process. We developed skills of young people. We had a document. The young people took ownership, and no money was spent on it.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Yes.
What about you, your proudest achievement?
I would say winning the international speech contest out of a field for the Caribbean district for the Toastmasters Club, and representing Antigua and Barbuda and the Caribbean as a whole in Malaysia. And I felt proud because it took a lot, and I was able to, the speech was one that brought out my passion. At the time, I was a member of the 3H network. I was very supportive of persons living with HIV and AIDS. And I spoke about, my speech was entitled, "Would You Kiss Me?" And of course that got everybody's attention, because I deliberately had that topic so that person would say, "But what is that about?"
The interest.
To pique the interest.
Yes.
And then when I delivered it, I mean, there were very few dry eyes in the building. It was about stigma and discrimination of persons living with HIV and AIDS. So it was a very proud moment for me when I won that competition.
Excellent. Wow. What would you say has required the greatest courage in your life?
Well, you know, following on that, it is that speech, because I had not experienced an anxiety attack before that time. I was the second to last speaker. There were about 16 or 18 speakers, and I was the second to last contestant. And just before I went on stage, I had an anxiety attack. I got dry mouth. I was sweating profusely, cold sweat. I was shaking uncontrollably. I had, you know, I thought I was not going to be able to do it.
Wow.
I was shaking. And I said, "Oh my God, you need to get me on this stage." I had to draw on every ounce of courage and will to pull myself together and go on that stage and do it. And I did it. And I won the competition, but it took every ounce of courage out of me. I've never experienced it again. That was the first time, because you would think that on the international stage, I would have had that fear.
Yes.
But it wasn't, it came at the Caribbean level.
Right.
And you know, so I understand when people say they have, you know, dry mouth. And
yes, those jitters.
So that is the incident that caused me to draw on every ounce of courage in me.
The adrenaline was going. It's the adrenaline that pushed you to win that.
Yes.
What about you? What has required the greatest courage?
Oh my goodness. As I said before, I'm an activist. I'm always on the outside.
Yes.
I'm an outlier. That is my role in life. So I'm always challenging even the status quo. So that takes courage. But I remember, for example, when I did my master's degree, right? So when I did my master's, I chose a program because I developed the kind of degree I wanted. I developed the program, right? And I remember when I was developing it, my professor told me, "You can't do that," because I was pulling on so many things, you know. I was pulling on a specialization in family studies with family therapy. I was pulling on a specialization in gender, women's studies, and feminist therapy. I was pulling on adolescent development and school counseling, right? All. And my professor looked at me and she told me, "You can't do that. You're doing 3 degrees in one."
You need to focus on one area.
Because all of them had their own mini thesis with a lot of work, right? Yeah. So I looked at them and I said to her, "I'm going to do all." I'm going to do all because take your mind back to 1991, 92, right? So I said to her, in Antigua and Barbuda, we don't have those skill sets. Psychology was a new thing coming into its own. You know, we didn't have any counselors, no psychologists, no school counselors. I was the first, and I went away to do further studies. I'm going to do all, right? And I did all. I did all. And when I finished, she said, "Wow, congratulations, because you had 3 degrees in one." He did 3 full degrees
Wow.
at the same time. And so I think that I'm standing up for myself, just pushing the envelope, knowing that it can happen and that you can make things happen if you believe. I think that is a powerful, powerful understanding for us to have, that we can make things happen.
Look, I'm telling you, we have 2 powerful women in this studio this evening. 2 powerful women in this party. Now, ladies, this question, whenever I ask the candidates, I get some rather interesting and intriguing responses. What is something that I would never ever guess about you? I don't know if Pearl can surprise me because I know most things about her. But what is something that the audience, our viewing audience, would never ever ever guess about you?
Okay. Well, as you can see, Jackie, my hair is out, right?
Yes.
It is the first time that most Antiguans are going to see me with my hair out like this. So that may be one of the things. But seriously though, I remember when I was little teenage,
Yes.
I actually was part of a street band.
A street band? Really?
Yes.
What instrument did you play?
I was back up, dancing and so.
That is surprising.
Yes. So there was a street band in Liberta, the Athels and the Walshes, very, very close, with height, right? And so the guys, they had the guys and we had the girls.
Yeah.
But I was friends with their big sister, Monica. Hi, Monica. And Monica and I were the backup for the band. We at the street side, they have their little, they have the bucket.
Yes.
And the shock.
Yes.
And we would sing and we would do the dancing thing. And it just out of the Monica and I were laughing about the street. And incidentally, one of those guys now is actually an accomplished musician.
Excellent, excellent.
But I was a backup.
Singer and backup dancer.
On the street.
On the street. So you did, you were in the entertainment
So you didn't know that, Jackie, did you?
Did not know that at all. What about you? Surprise me.
I don't know if I can surprise you, Jackie, because you know all our little secrets.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
But I don't know if you know that I never liked my name, Pearl. I never loved the name Pearl. And the reason I didn't love it because I didn't know any young person named Pearl. It was all old people who named Pearl. Nobody younger than me or my age was named Pearl. Except for, little Pearl, the
yes.
person.
Yes.
And I remember that we used to go to Bendel's school and we used to pass Antigua Plumbing where she used to sell bananas. And just because my name was Pearl, I know she was older than me. She used to give me a banana every time we passed. I liked her, but I hated the name. I actually thought about changing it, seriously thought about changing it when I got older. And so I actually started the process of changing it.
Yes.
And then I said, when people began to say, oh wow, you're Pearl by name and nature.
That's when you started liking it.
I like it after all. And I began to inspire me to live up to the name.
Yes.
And so that is why I didn't like that name. But of course, you know about all the times when we used to sneak out and we used to put up the dummies and so. I don't think a lot of people know that, but we used to sneak out of the house to go to parties because everybody knows by now that we were pastors' kids. And we used to sneak out of the house and put dummies underneath the bed covers so that if our parents came in...
Tell me the story, Jackie.
Yes, so this is something that a lot of persons don't know except maybe those who were part of the clan, like our neighbor. But I won't call her name. But she knows who she is if she's listening. So these are some things that persons would not know.
And that you were a party animal
at that time. I was a dancing queen. I used to go karaoke. No, I can't sing. My husband and my children are really good singers. I can hold a key, but I used to love karaoke. And every time I went to karaoke, I would sing Dancing Queen. And I'd be dancing, I'd be doing more dancing than singing. And I'm telling you, listen, I could dance. And if anybody knows me from those days when we used to teeth out to go tropics and 18 carats and so, they know that I could dance.
Yes. Look, I'm telling you, this is riveting television. We have two fine ladies in the house. They're sharing with us. We're enjoying ourselves. We're learning a lot about these candidates. Dr. Cleon Athil from the St. Paul's constituency and Sister Pearl Quinn Williams from the St. John's Rural North constituency. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Do stay with us.
UPP are the right choice for we. Let we vote. UPP are the right choice for we. Let we vote. Vote. Let we vote now. The UPP vote. The right choice. Vote.
First, he gassed us. Then he lied to us.
Ladies and gentlemen, that absolutely no one in our country will be vaccinated if they do not wish to be. We uphold that right and respect it.
Can we really trust him not to implement mandates for children aged 5 to 11? Vote them out!
United Progressive Party, the right choice. The United Progressive Party. Make the right choice. The United. We gon' make the right choice.
I just feel like people not understand me. I don't want to even give me a chance. Go to school, I have skill. I'm a hard worker, but there's just not enough jobs out there. The economy is so bad that I'm ashamed to say that we're in the year 2022 and water hardly one near the pipe. Now them can't tell how we, in order to get a job, I must take the job. I understand the vaccine is a good thing and all that, but I just hate the fact that it's mandated. It's my body, it's my choice. I shouldn't be denied a job, education or benefits because the choices I make for my body. For me, this time, personally, the UPP is the right choice because they are the party of choice.
It's time to join the family at the People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. We offer savings accounts, deposits, fixed deposits, loans, among other related services. You can even become a shareholder by purchasing a minimum of 50 shares at $5 per share. Membership is super easy and convenient. Just visit our newly opened credit union building on Upper Newgate Street, Monday to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. with proof of ID and address, along with $15 to cover registration and passbook. And you'll be set and on your way. For further information, call 462-8888 or 727-2285. People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Today, tomorrow, together.
Fascinating discussion with two of our finest candidates, the ladies of the United Progressive Party, Dr. Cleon Athil from the St. Paul's constituency and Pearl Quinn Williams from the St. John's Rural North constituency. Remember, please send your comments and your questions. We're going to have those at the end of the show. Now, ladies, 3 words that best describe you. How would you describe yourself?
Affable, genuine, and an advocate for the underdog. Now, you know, that last one, I know it's not a word, but it's a phrase. But that I got from persons in the constituency. We had an assignment to see how persons perceive you in the constituency. And it wasn't me who asked the question, but they inquired, and the person said that they see me as a fighter for the poor man, for the average man. And they cited the examples of the CCJ debate, and when I was pushing for the waiver of the interest on loans for that period when they got the moratorium during the pandemic. And so, and anybody who knows me, my former clients and customers and former colleagues will tell you that I was always fighting for the best terms for my client, the best interest rates, the best opportunities for my clients. And so I accept that characterization very well. I think that I am a fighter for the underdog. So I love it actually. And so I embrace it. So I think those are the three words, well, 2 words and a phrase that describes me best.
You can take liberties with us, that's fine. What about you, Doc?
I think I'm simple. Yes. Yeah, I think I'm simple. And I'm saying I'm simple because normally I'm very frank and open as to who I am. So once you get that, I'm good. You can deal with me. So I think I'm simple. I am reflective. I think I'm always inside, surveying how I think, surveying, how the experiences I'm having, surveying how I'm impacting the environment, those around me. So I'm very reflective. And I think I'm a caring person as well.
Caring
yeah,
person.
I'm caring.
And we need those kinds of persons in Parliament, in politics, in our constituencies across Antigua. Now, ladies, we're going to focus a little on plans for your constituency. You've been doing a lot of legwork, interacting with your constituents. What have you gleaned as the biggest issues or the greatest concerns facing St. Paul's and rural North?
I see you looking at me, Jackie, so I guess that means I should start. That's an interesting question, actually. Because when I go out in the community, I ask a couple of questions, 2 of them mainly. I ask constituents, what is your vision for St. Paul? And I ask them, what do you want of me when I win? And some of the issues that people are saying that come up all the time are things like, we want to feel as if we are community. So, yes, in St. Paul's, you hear people talking about water, you hear people talking about roads, yes, there are roads, all the same issues that are across the country. But by and large, the recurrent theme is a yearn for community, a yearn for good governance, a yearning for decent representation, a yearning for good politics and good politicians. And so I think those are key. And around those themes, I build my campaign and I'm strategizing out.
Excellent. What about in rural North?
Like every other constituency around the country, water, the lack of consistent water supply is an issue. Another issue is the cleanliness of the constituency and the poor road infrastructure. These are issues that are very prevalent and persons tell me concern them in the constituency, as well as unemployment as well, because we have quite a few persons from Liat who are in that constituency who are not working, and you have a lot of persons in the Cedar Grove and York's community who would have been let off during the pandemic and are not working. So those are the issues that I'm finding are most prevalent in my constituency.
Now, as you engage with your constituents, how are you planning to bring these issues to the fore? How are you planning to deal with these issues once you are elected? And I like the fact that you use the term when, not if. Of course. You use the term when I'm elected. How do you plan to handle some of these issues, particularly things like unemployment and getting the communities together?
Like I said, my platform is a community development platform, community engagement platform. And so all of our efforts when we are canvassing, and even during the COVID, you know, the lockdown, we were having numerous engagement, numerous meetings via the Zoom and other means, and engaging the constituents around, we call it visioning exercise, basically. And so persons were saying all the things they need to see happening. And one of the things that came up was the need for there to be an integrated community development plan. And over the past 18 months, we have been building out in terms of adding pieces, some of the things that we want to see happen. So for example, one of the things that the constituents are saying is that we need to see an integrated plan that involves the linkage between agriculture, tourism, sport, and folk culture. So we have right now a particular young man who has already submitted what he considers to be a proposal for a very dynamic and fresh initiative that has all of those aspects involving agriculture, involving trails, involving folk culture, involving local people at the forefront. So we're talking about using what is common to the people, using the things that are in the community to build a community, spirit, right? To build a community health, and also to build community employment. So these are some of the things that we're talking about. Another thing that came up, and as we engage young people, as we engage communities, ideas will come. That's one of the things we also have to believe when we're dealing with community, that people are wise and people will, the ideas will come out of their belly, so to speak, because it's their life, it's their experience. And I remember when we were in one of our meetings, we were talking about the housing stock, because that's one of the concerns that we have, and the young people are talking about the housing stock, right? And I remember one of the young men said, you know, what are the things that we can do? We can have a youth building brigade. I mean, I thought, wow. And his idea of a youth building brigade is that, one, we chronicle, we track all of the builders in the community, right, particularly the young people, and they themselves will form a brigade that will go around in the community and, he said, to fix up people's houses, help old people fix up. Now, that is a little idea, yes, but the point is that it is coming out of the people, out of a need. Another thing that has come out of the people is our community farmers markets.
Yes.
Right? And the community farmers market is a community initiative. The community has taken ownership of it, and it has come out of the community to address the issue of, one, supporting local, and also the fact that there are a lot of persons in the community who are, as we say, try a hand. They're trying their hand at something.
Budding entrepreneurs.
Right. Well, yeah, the budding entrepreneurs, they're trying their hand. And so the community itself needs to wrap itself around the people in the community and support them and build them up. And what will happen is, a couple of things will happen. One, we build community spirit and also provide the support for these families in the community to make a living and to improve their lot. And of course, the community farmers market is extending beyond St. Paul's, and we have people from as far as Old Road, potters, who come over to St. Paul's and ply their trade.
Excellent. These ideas are great, and I'm sure you'll get an opportunity once the people choose the right choice. Yes. What about you? Your plans to address some of these pressing concerns in rural North?
Well, the water issue is a national issue.
Yeah.
And so it will have to be dealt with at a national level. The UPP administration has already come out with their short-term relief plan, water, where you have water tank and equipment relief program, where they're going to be, and they've outlined how it's going to work in a press release. So I'm not going to go into the details of that. So that will address water situation. I also believe that we can also have reservoirs built in the constituency that can act as a backup for water supply. As it relates to the cleanliness of the community, which is a concern for a lot of the constituents, because you have a lot of overgrown bushes and vacant lots that harbor vagrants and criminal safe haven for criminals and breeding ground for rodents. I think that what has to happen is that if we have sanitation contractors who live in the various communities within the constituency, then they would have a special interest in making sure that their community is kept clean. And I believe that that can work. We will continue to have where the government cleans down some of these vacant lots, whether they're government owned or privately owned, and perhaps tack it on to the property tax for persons who if it's privately owned. Then when it comes to the roads, the road infrastructure is really in a poor state. And I believe, if anybody knows me, they know that I can be a formidable advocate. And I would have said this already, that if it means that I have to commandeer a roller, materials, tools, and a group of men and go into the constituency and get the roads fixed, that is what I'll do. And I'm not above doing manual labor either. I'm not above getting down and dirty and getting my hands in the mix. If that's what it takes, that's what I'll do. So that's how I see that we will address the road infrastructure situation. As it relates to unemployment, that is also, we're going to need the help from a national level. And so, of course, one of the plans that the United Progressive Party will be implementing is the YES program, which is the Youth Entrepreneur Setup Program, where youths will be given help in setting up and doing proposals and marketing and financing, negotiating financing for their businesses. And we're going to also have vocational programs and entrepreneur mentorship programs within the community to address, so that persons can upskill themselves or retool themselves so they can be more marketable, or they can start their own businesses.
Okay, excellent. Now, I want you to picture June 15th. The election is over. The United Progressive Party has won the election. You have won your seat in St. John's Rural North. You have won your seat in St. Paul's. What is the first thing you're going to tackle in your constituency come June 15th? I'm just throwing that date out.
There's so many things that need urgent attention that I don't even know which I would tackle first. But the thing that is on most persons' minds, if it's not fixed by then, is the water situation. There's sometimes there are times in rural North when we don't, in Coolidge, I live in Coolidge, and we don't get water for 2 weeks, week and a half. And if you get it at an ungodly hour where you don't know that it's on, and it might be on for that is almost everywhere I go in rural North. I don't know if it's because they think that, well, rural North people have cisterns and pumps and so they don't really care. I don't know. But I'm telling you, that is a situation that needs to be addressed as a matter of urgency. The roads are also, but they have been struggling along with the roads. But because water is a necessity for life, I have to see how that can be addressed as a matter of urgency. That would have to be the number one.
At the top of your list.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. What about you, Doc?
I agree with Pearl, I agree with Pearl that the water problem must be addressed. I certainly do agree that. But we also realize in St. Paul's that we have to make interventions at different levels. So we have the national level, where the government, our government will implement and will route water to the tank up on the hill, and so people can get consistent water. But coming out of the feedback I'm getting, in St. Paul, again I'm stressing the need for community. And so persons are talking about having some community management system in place. And persons are already saying that we want to be part of. That is very doable. That doesn't need, for example, national, central government.
That's right.
We can mobilize in community, at community level, to put systems in place to begin to address the issues that are low-hanging, we consider low-hanging fruit, like sanitation, for example, like beautification. We can do those things in community. We can provide support for farmers in community. We can provide support for entrepreneurs in the community. So we're understanding that there are different levels of intervention that we can work on, the local level, and as well advocate for all the things that Pearl talk about at the national level. We're going to get it done.
Yes.
We're the best.
Now, people are crying out. I know
Right
that. I believe, I am persuaded by you ladies. I mean, you are powerful ladies, and I know that you keep your promises once you are elected. People have been crying out for inclusivity. I like the fact that you're focusing a lot on community. People want to see that participatory approach to representative politics. How do you plan to include the residents of St. Paul's and rural North into the decision-making process in your constituency? You are going to Parliament to represent them. How are you going to include them?
Well, that is my approach all now. All now is my approach. So anything I do in the community is an us thing.
Yes.
The people are involved even now, and the people are also beginning to see the ideas already taking root. The farmers market, the community pantry. Right now we're also talking about a Clean Up Your Gap Day that we're going to roll out pretty shortly. So the people are already seeing their action in motion. That's very important, right? But also we have to begin to allow communities to form around, to be consulted in a very strategic and deliberate way in the process of governance. So I am totally going to be advocating for things like local government. I'm totally going to be advocating for the practice of representatives to consult with the constituents before they go into Parliament. Because we cannot be saying that we're representatives and we don't ever speak to, listen to, consult the people who we're representing. Whenever I come out and speak publicly, my constituents know. I tell them, I ask them their opinion. Like for example, tonight I say, I am going to be on the show. I take you with me. Yes. You're here with me. All of you are here with me. You know you're here with me. And that is what we do in St. Paul. We understand that we are together and we mobilize around a very powerful energy of our African ancestry. We call Ubuntu. So Ubuntu.
Yeah. You know, the thing about a lot of politicians, let's say politicians, they are elected to serve the people, to represent the people, and you don't see them until the next election.
And people say that all the time.
You know, and this is what is happening in this country.
Yes.
So, Pearl, how are you planning to include your people in rural North?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on what Sister Cleon said in terms of engaging the constituents in consultation before any parliamentary bills, before you go into debate any parliamentary bills. And any policy that is going to affect them. Because listen, a lot of these things affect persons' lives directly and their livelihoods. And they would like to know. And so what I will have is not necessarily town hall meetings with everybody,
focus groups.
Exactly. Focus groups and community leaders. And then, you know, we have a discussion and come to a consensus on the position that I should take. So that when I go into Parliament now, I will truly represent what it is that they would like me to say, what position they would like me to take on a particular bill or whether it's a policy directive. So I think that it is important that there's a disconnect that seems to happen, that has happened in the past when persons become elected members of parliament and their constituents. And I don't intend that to happen in my case. People have said that to me. They say, when we elect you, make sure you come. We don't see you just when election time is nigh, because we're not going to give you a chance again. It happens too often. Yes. I said, well, I will make sure. So I have to make sure that I am in that community, even if it is just to check on persons and to, pass by and say to them, how are you doing? How did things go with that issue you had? Is that resolved? I see you got this issue resolved. And, how are the children? Whatever it is, we have to remain connected to our constituents. It's the only way we can really, truly represent them.
And I think to a large extent, there's a shift in the way people are practicing politics. Politics is very personal for people.
Very, very personal. And just not trying to cut you, but I was saying, there was a particular young lady, and she said to me that she has always voted for this administration, for the Labour Party administration. And she said that she is not going to vote for the current representative because he passed her and he did not say hello. And I was like, we have to be so now it may be that he didn't even see her. But the point is, we have to be so conscious. And I was glad that she gave me that story, because it made me ever so conscious now that we are not like normal people. You can't be distracted and say you're on the phone and go into a room and don't say hello. Or don't say good morning, because they're going to say, oh, she want me and she don't even see, she don't have manners. So we have to be so conscious about you're in the constituency. Whether or not you think that they hear you or they respond, you have to make sure simple things like that turn people off.
Now, I want to focus a little about the empowerment of young people, because the cry I hear across Antigua and Barbuda is that a lot of young people are unemployed. A lot of young people don't feel the empowerment. They don't feel engaged. Now, you are both, I would say, young.
Yes, I am young.
In that demographic.
Not so young. I'm as young as I feel.
Exactly. And Doc, you were an advocate for youth. Tell us how you're going to pull those young people in, because the young people are there crying out for a voice. They're crying out for leadership, for mentorship, for coaching, for opportunities. And I know that the party has been engaged thinking about how the young people can be empowered across Antigua and Barbuda.
Well, as I said, in terms of entrepreneurship, I would have mentioned the YES program, which we're going to introduce. But in addition to that, look, young people some of them just want to be heard and listened to. And not just hearing them and saying, oh, and you don't do anything. If they see that you implement some of the things that they say, boy, you have them for life in terms of how they look at you, they respect you. I have spoken with a lot. I don't want to sound as if I'm bragging, but I think I have a way with young people. Young people gravitate to me, and I am, a young guy say, I don't know if it's because, but whatever it takes to grab them. But the woman, they say, boy, me love how you look. Me gonna vote for you, come and love how you look. And I said, well, whatever it takes. But it should not just be so superficial.
Yes.
The fact that you listen to them and you sit down and you hear them and you say, listen, that is a brilliant idea. You show interest in what it is that they have to say. and you say, look, we can use that. And you add to what they're saying and they understand, and then you call them back and you say, listen, I want to have a conversation with you. I want to sit down with you. I've done that with a lot of young people. And I can tell you that I am going to have on my team when I get into office, a lot of young people are going to be there and playing their part in nation building in this country.
Wow. Excellent. What about you, Doc?
I don't know if I can top that, actually, you know. Because, I mean, speaking about young people, we need to also, as Per said, think about the different levels of intervention. At the top level, at the national level, think about education. How do we prepare our young people for life? So that may even need a restructuring of our school system, our school offering. You know, entrepreneurship, providing opportunities for young people to develop their entrepreneurial endeavors. We've heard about programs where young people are given startup. Well, Pearl talked about it, you know, the YES program. Young people have also been speaking a lot about opportunities to own a piece of the rock.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's
true.
First-time home owners. We need young people also talking about opportunities to improve their sporting skills, you know. We're also very concerned about young people's mental health. That's a whole big issue that we need to take into consideration, that young people have lots of challenges and they need to be supported in a variety of ways. Also, leisure. Apart from sport, leisure. How do we encourage young people just to be themselves? And chill out and cool out. What opportunities are there for them to do that? So when we talk about young people, it's a whole cadre, a whole menu of services and intervention that we need to make with our young people at every level. At the community level, we mobilize community organizations, support community groups, support churches, support families so that families can support their children as well. And at the national level, we have big programs like education, like health. And one of the things that we have been kind of toying around for the last couple of years is an initiative kind of sound like a national youth, oh my goodness, it's slipping me. They had it in Guyana, actually. I don't know why it's slipping me.
National Youth Corps?
Youth
Corps?
A National Youth Service Program, right? So young people need opportunities to serve. And where are we going to do that? I mean, we hear about the national, the Boys Brigade. We hear about the cadet. So programs like these are programs that perhaps that we need to put more resources into and ensure that they, you know, that they take off in a way that makes sense for young people.
Okay, ladies, we're going to take another break and we're going to come right back and continue our discussion with Dr. Cleon Athel from the St. Paul's constituency and Pearl Quinn Williams of the St. John's Rural North constituency. Remember, please put your questions and your comments in, because on the final segment, we are going to share some of those comments. We'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Run the country too long now, people can't see no upliftment.
Time to join the family at the People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. We offer savings accounts, deposits, fixed deposits, loans, among other related services. You can even become a shareholder by purchasing a minimum of 50 shares at $5 per share. Membership is super easy and convenient. Just visit our newly opened credit union building on Upper Newgate Street, Monday to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. with proof of ID and address, along with $15 to cover registration and passbook, and you'll be set and on your way. For further information, call 462-8888 or 727-2285. People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Today, tomorrow, together.
First, he gassed us. Then, he lied to us.
We have made it abundantly clear that no one, absolutely no one in our country will be vaccinated if they do not wish to be. We uphold that right and respect it.
Can we really trust him not to implement mandates for children aged 5 to 11? Vote them out!
you ready? Are you ready? Beautiful people, are you ready to get off your feet and release that blue energy? We'll move to the front of the class and throw your hands up in the air for The Right Rhythm. The Right Rhythm, a weekly musical experience featuring Antigua and Barbuda's top DJs. 2 hours of musical entertainment every Friday night from 8 p.m. on UPP, YouTube TV, and streamed live on all media platforms, as well as Progressive 107.3 FM. It's The Right Rhythm, brought to you by the United Progressive Party. The right choice.
Welcome back to The Right Choice. We are having an interesting discussion with two of the finest ladies across Antigua and Barbuda. We're talking about Dr. Cleon Athil from the St. Paul's constituency and Pearl Quinn Williams from the St. John's Rural North constituency. And we've been having quite a wide-ranging discussion about their own lives, their experiences, their constituency. And so we're going to now focus a little on some of the national issues. Now, Pearl and Dr. Athil, you spoke at length about youth engagement, the YES program, some of the policies and plans that you plan to bring to your constituency. Let us look now at the national level. You are in government. You have ministries to run, and I'm not going to ask you what ministries you have your eyes on. What are some of the policies and programs which will demonstrate to the people of Antigua and Barbuda that you are the right choice? I know that water, infrastructure, and employment and so on are at the top of your list. But talk to the people about some of the main plans and programs. You, I know, have that Liat matter at the tip of in your constituency. What are the plans and policies that you want to demonstrate to the people that you are the right choice for Antigua?
Well, we would have mentioned some of them already, but other things within the constituency would be things like, I want to transform the Jabberwock Beach. I think that can be a beautiful place with picnic tables and, you know, slides and so for the young people, and they can still have their kite in there. I think that the Liat, as you said, the Liat, there are lots of people in my constituency that are Liat, ex-Liat workers that are suffering terribly, and we need to address that. And I know that I am going to be a strong advocate for us to really address that situation in as short a time as possible to bring relief to these people. I would also like to see the renovation, expansion and modernization of the Department of Analytical Services, formerly Dunbar's Lab. I would like to see that expanded to include other analytical services and perhaps have an agro-processing plant there. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but we need to do something with that. I am currently speaking with persons who have expertise and knowledge in that field, and I think that is something that we really, I would really like to see happen in the constituency. And overall, I think that this government is committed to doing what is in the best interest of the greatest majority of persons, where we can give relief to the persons, because this is a period of extreme hardship and suffering that they're going through now. We are going to have to bring relief to those people as a matter of in other words, allow them to breathe again. because persons will need to breathe after this period of this government's administration. So I'm not sure if I have touched what it is that you wanted.
Of course. What about you, Doc?
I think I mentioned a couple of them already, so I'm just reiterating. The whole concept of community, local government, I think is key. Because I think for too long, we have focused on development from a top-down level, top-down approach. But I think when we look at the top-down approach, we see grand projects at the top level, and then we do not see any trickle-down to change what's happening at the community level. So we see a lot of a lot of decadence at the community level, poor housing stock at the community level. So we do need to have community, local governance systems at community. Another thing that I'm committed to is constitutional reform.
Oh, yes.
So there are lots of things that we need to change with respect to the Constitution, and that needs that's a whole other discussion where we need right across the board national discussion on that. What are some of the things that we need to change and improve on? Okay, we also need to focus on governance, right? Somebody once said that the country is rich but the people are poor, and the reason why that is so is because we have over the years adopted poor governance approaches. And so the UPP, when we win, that has to be one of our hallmark or flagship approaches, and that is why we are the best, we're the right choice. Because we are going to go in and we are going to do governance differently, understanding that all of us here have to benefit from the country's resources, and that as trustees of the country's resources, we have a fiduciary responsibility to ensure that the business of the state is done with the utmost efficiency and attention to everybody's rights and so forth. I'm also committed to gender.
Yes.
Right. And so I think that we have to have an approach that sees gender as mainstream. So we're mainstreaming gender, meaning that in every department, in every ministry, we have to give attention to how all of the projects, program, policies are going to affect the lives of men and women on the ground. Because that is how we're going to change people's lives and have better outcome for everybody.
I'm glad you took us back to that issue of gender, Doc, because
and that's right up her alley.
Exactly. Because under the UPP administration, the UPP was known to be a very gender-sensitive administration, having the record for electing the first woman to parliament, the first woman governor general, the first woman police commissioner, the first woman ombudsman. In a new UPP administration, how will you use your influence? I know you talk about gender equity. How will you use that influence to ensure that there is a level playing field for both men and women in appointments, in decision making, in anything at all related to governance? How are you going to influence a Harold level prime minister that this has to happen?
I mean, that is what I meant about gender mainstreaming.
Yes.
To ensure that gender is a critical part of the discussion and decision making, policy making. When we do things in government, that gender is a critical leg, a critical consideration on everything. So when we're talking about education, we look at gender.
Yes.
We look at how it impacts boys and girls. We look at female teachers. Just look at gender. Environment. Right now, right across the world, environment is an issue where we're talking about gender. The COVID, how does COVID affect? And one of the things that we're finding is that right across the world, women and men, because of how we are, we live in a gendered experience, gendered societies, that men and women tend to have very different realities and experiences simply because of our gender. And one of them may be disadvantageous, and the other one is on the other hand. So we have to begin to understand how our gendered experience affect the lives of men and women. And men are affected by their gendered experience as well. And so we're going to be thinking about things like paternity leave.
Yes.
Right?
Very
so
important.
The men out there are asking for paternity leave, and I'm thinking that yes, that's one of the things that we can do. look at paternity leave. We again look at the Sexual Offences Act. We again look at the Domestic Violence Act. We look at sexual harassment that has kind of eluded us over the years, and it is something that we have to look at. Lots of issues.
Mind it, tomorrow morning you don't hear a certain Attorney General saying, oh, we're going to be looking at paternity leave. Watch. I always caution the candidates. There's a lot of plagiarism, there's a lot of clogging going on. Because as soon as the UPP says they're doing this or they're proposing that, next thing you hear, this administration come out with it.
I think she would have covered it nicely, and that is really where I would like it to stay.
Yes.
I mean, that is her field, and so I wouldn't want to say anything more than that.
Okay. Now, ladies, what leadership qualities, what professional expertise or experience do you possess that makes you the right choice?
I would say that my heart is in the right place. My motive is pure and true, and that motive is to see a higher standard, good governance in this country. That is my motive. And I believe that I possess the ability and the integrity, and it is evidence from my work experience and my training that I would have gotten. Persons would know me. Anybody who knows me know that I am a person who is a people person. I'm a people person. I'm a person that looks out for the interests of others. And because I have the interests of the country and good governance at heart, I believe I will do what is in the best interests of the people at all times. And of course, I will always seek the guidance of the Heavenly Father. You know, I'm a spiritual person. His wisdom and His guidance. And I know that once I follow His leading, that I will do right by the people. And I believe that is why I am the right choice for St. John's Rural North.
What about you, Doc?
I think I want to stress on two things. I'm stressing on governance, good governance. I think I'm committed in my own practice. Anything I do, I'm committed to doing things in a particular way. Understanding that I'm accountable. I'm accountable to others. I'm also accountable for outcomes and the process. So I think I'm committed to that. I'm also very committed to engaging in a very transformational kind of way. And that simply means understanding that people come along in their own, at their own pace.
Yes.
Right? Understanding that people have this, that people can be developed. That's another thing. That a belief in people then.
Yes.
And understand that people have a right to their agency. Meaning that people have the right to know that through their own effort, they can make things happen. I mean, you see that? I mean, that is how I've basically worked in the youth department.
Yes.
You know, like for example, I remember I had to go before the appeals board because I was fighting, you know, the case I was fighting.
Oh yes, yes, I do know.
And I was given a job, a position that I thought that I wasn't trained to do, you know, and I'm saying I wasn't trained to that because I have a friend who is trained in that particular thing and I wasn't trained in it as my protest, as a protest. And I remember one of the commissioners said to me, but you can do that, you have those skills. That's planning, project management. He said, you can do that because look at the youth department. You've brought it from nowhere to something, right? So I have over the years in various areas I've been, have moved organizations, moved agencies from little to big. I can say it that way, move from little to big, because I understand that once I'm in it, I'm in it. Once I'm in something, once I've taken something on, I put my whole into it. Like I can't be half anything. I put my whole into it, and I'm going to see it through.
To its success.
To its success.
Of course.
And not only that, I mobilize people around, because it's not me alone. So I understand that it's other people around that you mobilize to ensure that whatever you're doing is successful.
Now, how can voters get in touch and learn more about your plans and programs? Do you have constituency offices and up and running, that sort of thing?
Yes, and I can be reached. I'm actually on social media.
Yes.
Whoa, I'm telling you, I'm still a social media novice, but let me tell you, I've come a long, long way.
Yes.
So, but social media at Pearl Quinn Williams, Facebook, Pearl Quinn Williams, Williams. I can be reached on Instagram as well, and my telephone number is 723-4362. My branch office is on Cedar Grove Main Road, and I'm usually there on Tuesdays and Thursdays from about 10:30 in the morning. So this is where you can reach me. I'm currently working on a manifesto for St. John's Rural North, where you'll be able to see the plans and programs and policies that I will have for St. John's Rural North constituency, and that will come out at the appropriate time, because you know we don't want them cogging.
And that telephone number will not change once you're elected?
No, absolutely not.
Oh dear me.
And I must say, Rural North, you know that my motto is, it's all about you, and there's a reason why I chose that motto, because it is what motivates me, and it will guide all my actions, because it's never supposed to be about me. It's always supposed to be about you, the people. And so, Rural North people, I will always be there for you at any time. You can call me at any time of the night, day or night. My husband won't say anything. It's okay.
That's a good one, Steve. I hope you're listening, Steve. Yes, Doc.
Yes, and me, I'm on Facebook as well. I've been on Facebook for a very long time. Pearl, I've been on Facebook. But I do have a political page that is different to my personal page.
Yes,
it's Dr. Cleon Athil on Facebook. You can engage with me there. I have several WhatsApp that I engage my constituents on, several WhatsApp spaces that I engage them on. And of course, my phone number is 464-5015. 464-5015. And of course, there's a branch office. You can call me anytime.
Excellent. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come right back to The Right Choice, the last segment. That's where we're going to give your questions, your comments. So I've been looking at this phone and trying to get some of those questions and comments in at the last segment. Please do stay with us on The Right Choice.
Right choice, UPP ready to run the country. Sustainable growth and opportunity. UPP, the right choice for we. The right choice, with the right choice.
It's time to join the family at the People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. We offer savings accounts, deposits, fixed deposits, loans, among other related services. You can even become a shareholder by purchasing a minimum of 50 shares at $5 per share. Membership is super easy and convenient. Just visit our newly opened credit union building on Upper Newgate Street, Monday to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. with proof of ID and address, along with $15 to cover registration and passbook. And you'll be set and on your way. For further information, call 462-8888 or 727-2285. People's Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Today, tomorrow, together.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Beautiful people, are you ready to get off your feet and release that blue energy? Well, move to the front of the class and throw your hands up in the air for The Right Rhythm. The Right Rhythm, a weekly musical experience featuring Antigua and Barbuda's top DJs. 2 hours of musical entertainment every Friday night from 8 p.m. on UPP, YouTube TV, and streamed live on all media platforms, as well as Progressive 107.3 FM. It's The Right Rhythm, brought to you by the United Progressive Party. The right choice.
First, he gassed us. Then, he lied to us.
We have made it abundantly clear that no one, absolutely no one in our country will be vaccinated if they do not wish to be. We uphold that right and respect it.
Can we really trust him not to implement mandates for children aged 5 to 11? Vote them out!
We come and vote them out. 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 We gonna vote them out. We come and 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 vote them out.
Welcome back to The Right Choice. We're on the final segment of the program, and this is where you get to give your comments. And of course, if there are any questions, we also share those questions. Let's go on to Facebook, and someone is saying, where there is high crime, most tourists seem to avoid those countries. Somebody else says, I am in support of paternity leave. Another person says, definitely the right choice, Pearl. I definitely think that a lot of Antiguans and Barbudans feel very let down by the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party government. Don't forget the elderly people of Antigua and Barbuda, ladies. This was a very interesting discussion. You ladies kept it real, and I like the different plans you are putting in place. UPP, the right choice. Somebody else says, when you get in power, don't change your telephone number like these others. And someone says, well said, my rep, Pearl Quinn Williams. Definitely the right choice for St. Paul, Dr. Cleon Athil. And someone else says, enlightening and inspiring. The ladies knocked it out of the park tonight. They delivered hope. Very proud of these ladies, certainly the right choice. Now, ladies, we are on this final segment, and we try to just get from our candidates a moment when you speak to your constituents, you speak to the nation of Antigua and Barbuda, and you tell them in candid terms, in blunt terms, what makes you the right choice for rural North and for St. Paul. Sis, you want to start the ball rolling this time?
Yes. Rural North people, I am there for you. Rural North is unique in that we span the socio-economic spectrum. And I have the ability to walk with kings and not lose my common touch, and walk with the common man and not lose my virtue. For me, rural North, it's all about you, the people. That is why I am the right choice for St. John's Rural North.
Thank you. And Doc, you have the last word.
I do, huh? What can I say? I'm thinking of, talking about to St. Paul's, my constituents. And I'm thinking and I'm hearing in my head the voices of persons who would have said to me, you are the right choice. And I want to pull out of those voices one voice, because that voice is a voice of a youth. That voice is a young person. She's 13 years old. And she attended one of our events, and she went home with her mom. And her mom called me and said to me, Cleon, guess what so-and-so just said? She has never felt the community feeling like this before. No, that tears came from my eyes, because that is exactly what we need in St. Paul's. We want a community where people feel respected, where people feel valued, where people understand that they can make things happen. And so St. Paul's is a community on the verge of takeoff, and you are going to make it happen. Every last one of you who understand that we stand on the shoulders of the first plantation busters who left the plantations with their axes, and their hoes and their shovels and say, Massa, outdone. We want freedom. We deserve better. And that is what Cleon Athel's candidacy represents. Better for St. Paul's. A community that is united, safe, productive, and progressive. That's the right choice. That's your legacy.
Thank you very much. And ladies, I want to say how much of a pleasure it was. A real delight for me to sit here and talk to you this evening. And I'm sure the audience, I haven't been able to capture all the comments from the audience. They also enjoyed and were edified by your presentations here this evening. We've been speaking with Dr. Cleon Athel. She's the standard bearer for St. Paul's constituency, and Sister Pearl Quinn Williams, the candidate for the St. John's Rural North constituency. Join us again next week, same day, same time, for another edition of The Right Choice. I'm Jackie Quinn. Continue to enjoy your evening. Good evening.
Right choice. Come, let's make the right choice. Right choice. UPP ready to run the country. Sustainable growth and opportunity. UPP, the right choice for we. The right choice.
My father died when I was just 5 years old. My mother came from Willikie's village. She had 5 young mouths to feed, and she toiled on her sewing machine to make ends meet. She was a strong woman who taught us right from wrong. And even though she struggled, the choices she made put us on the right path. I made the choice to work hard, play by the rules, and get an education. I had a number of opportunities, but I chose to return to Antigua and inspire the next generation. I taught at the Antigua Grammar School, and it's here that I saw firsthand how education transforms lives. I made the choice to get into politics because of the lack of resources that I saw in our schools. I saw how our teachers and families struggled whilst an elite few got ahead. When the people granted us the opportunity to serve in government, we had a lot of work to do. As Minister of Finance, I helped to clean up the rot of 30 years of one-party rule. We saw our country through the global financial crisis and the Stanford collapse. Through all of that, we introduced the school meals program, the school uniform program, and laptops for children. While we were not perfect, no one is perfect but Almighty God. We worked day in and day out to defend the nation and put people first. Today I see too many families struggling for a lack of jobs and the mental stress that comes with it. The cost of living is out of control, and for too many of us, water is still not readily available. And our needed pension checks are not coming on time. While the elite few did well, the ABLP denied you the right to choose what you put in your body. Whilst we believe in vaccines, we don't believe it's the responsibility of government to control your bodies. We will bring an end to all the mandates. This election is about choice, and we believe that we are the right choice because we give you the choice.
I just feel like people not understand me. I don't want to even give me a chance. Go to school, I have skill. I'm a hard worker, but there's just not enough jobs out there. The economy is so bad that I'm ashamed to say that we're in the year 2022 and water hardly won near the pipe. Now them can't tell how we, in order to get a job, I must take the job. I understand the vaccine is a good thing and all that, but I just hate the fact that it's mandated. It's my body, it's my choice. I shouldn't be denied a job, education, or benefits because the choices I make for my body. For me, this time, personally, the UPP is the right choice because they are the party of choice.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Beautiful people, are you ready to get off your feet and release that blue energy? We'll move to the front of the class and throw your hands up in the air for The Right Rhythm. The Right Rhythm, a weekly musical experience featuring Antigua and Barbuda's top DJs. 2 hours of musical entertainment every Friday night from 8 p.m. on UPP, YouTube TV, and streamed live on all media platforms, as well as Progressive 107.3 FM. It's The Right Rhythm, brought to you by the United Progressive Party. The right choice.
First, he gassed us. Then, he lied to us.
We have made it abundantly clear that no one, absolutely no one in our country will be vaccinated if they do not wish to be. We uphold that right and respect it.
Can we really trust him not to implement mandates for children aged 5 to 11? Vote them out!
The United Progressive Party. The right choice.